Hello and welcome. This is Dave Meyer with BusyWeb on behalf of Constant Contact. Today we're talking about campaigns that drive action, newsletters and announcements, featuring email and social engagement. I'm Dave Meyer, your host. Here's a little picture of me and some details on how to get a hold of us. If you need any help with anything that you're going to see or hear about today, please do feel free to get a hold of me at dave.meyer@busyweb.com, Facebook at BusyWeb, or Twitter at BusyWeb, and you can actually reach us and get access to both a special offer and get technical support via phone at the links at the bottom of the screen. Just testing here to make sure everything's looking good. Sounds like I'm audible and everything looks fine. Going to go through one quick thing. If you're browsing from this event, and if you're looking at us and you're trying to see what's happening, you'll probably be watching from this page right here. And so if you've clicked play in this window and you're watching this live, or if you've expanded it, go ahead and go up to number 1 if you want to ask questions. There's a link to the Google Plus page. And if you click on that link, it's going to take you to this space. It's going to open up a new window, and then you'll see an event right here that says Campaigns That Drive Action, Newsletters and Announcements. And if you click on play here or click up on the Q&A and live, you can actually see the content that you can get in. It says error loading people, but that's just a typical weird thing with this event. And if you go down, you can then click Ask a New Question, and we will be taking questions during the event, during the entire event. I'm going to switch back and forth a couple of times. So if you type a question like ask a question here, and you hit enter, you will automatically pop into the queue for questions, and I will see those, be able to respond to them during the event. Now, if you do have those questions, go ahead and don't be shy with that. The one caveat is that you do need to be logged into a Google Plus account. If you have a Gmail account, you probably already have a Google Plus account. But if you do need help with that, feel free to get a hold of our people. We can help you with that a little bit, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Just go to that page, go to the link on this event right here, and it'll take you into this window to ask those questions. Thank you very much for joining us. Again, I'm Dave Meyer on behalf of SCORE and Constant Contact. So delighted to have you with us. Going to go through a couple of small things, including BusyWeb, who we are and what we do, so just so you understand who the person is behind the mask here. BusyWeb is an online marketing agency formed in 1999, so we've been doing this well before Facebook and all the other craziness. And then we are a web design company that focuses on all assets and aspects of online marketing. So one of the things that we do best is we're a WordPress web design company that integrates social media and email marketing with your website, so that when you publish to your website automatically posts to Facebook, Google+, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and more. And then it'll integrate with all of the tools available at Constant Contact. So Constant Contact, as you know, started and is mostly an email newsletter kind of tool. But now with Toolkit, Constant Contact allows you to create both, in addition to newsletters and announcements, offers and promotions, feedback and surveys, and events and registrations. So we're going to talk about the newsletters and things today. And as we get into things, I'll just cover briefly what we do. First, what are campaigns and newsletters? We'll talk through the details behind that, how to craft and create effective email marketing campaigns, and then we're going to bridge in with email and social media, how the two work together, and the fact that you do need to use both in today's day and age. So we'll round that out with next steps and tell you where to go from here after you've gotten everything figured out. And of course, we'll feature a special offer that's already available at busyweb.com/cc if you just can't stand to wait. All right, so let's talk about campaigns and newsletters. At its core, marketing is all about eliciting a physical and measurable response. What you're trying to do with all of your marketing is bridge out and make a connection between you and the people that you're connecting with, the people that you're working with. So the more you can do that, the better off you're going to be. Measurement is marketing. And if you're not marketing and measuring what you're doing, you're just kind of busy. So we're going to talk about how to make sure that you're getting the best result for what you're trying to accomplish as well. All right, so what is a campaign? Well, a campaign is really a way that you are going to push content out to the audiences that matter most to you. And in return, you're going to ask them to submit a response. So you're going to push content and pull response. And that's what the conversation inside of email marketing can look like. Newsletters, of course, are different pieces of information that you can send to your customers, supporters, clients, volunteers that share information and relevant insights. There are a lot of different types of newsletters. Some of them might be keeping your audience in the know, sending out cards or announcements, doing a business newsletter, a press release, or even something that's custom, including sending out a specific request or a specific type of survey. Anything that requires coding or details include what you want to focus on inside of custom emails. And so what are emails? Well, emails are everything else. Anytime you want to send out a specific piece of information to your clients or to your customers or prospects over the email medium, that's what we're covering in both campaigns and newsletters and email. The obvious question that people ask are, what should I write about when you're creating an email or an email newsletter? Well, there's a few things, but first, you're going to write about what you know that they don't. Here's an insider tip for all marketing. If you know more than the people that you're talking to, you're an expert. And so you're an expert in your field because you have access to all kinds of information that no one else does, or certainly no one that you're sending your emails to. So you have access to newsletters, content, details that no one else really knows. You're just an insider in your industry. So you can share some of that content, some of that delivery, and really send out and remind folks who you are, what you do, and why they should be excited to work with you. You don't have to be original in an email, just be interesting and relevant. Now, there is a caveat inside of there. If you're trying to use content that you're using in multiple frameworks, so if you're having that out on the web, if you're publishing things on social media, if you intend your content to get you search engine results to help you rank better on Google, you are going to want to have original content. But if you're just sending out an email newsletter, repurposing existing content with the exception and with the warning that you do need to properly attribute your content to the right people so that you're not plagiarizing, is very important and very doable. So you know how much you're going to write or what you're going to write about, but then also how much is enough. So as you're sending out content, how much do you need to write? The last email newsletter that you received, did you wish that it was just a little bit longer? Well, odds are probably not. We don't go by the maximum amount of content that we want to send out. In fact, in email marketing, less is usually more. The key that you want to go to is you need to focus on what you're trying to get out of all of your online marketing and then what you can actually expect to get back. If you're asking people to do 5 things, the likelihood is much less that they'll actually do any of those 5 things than if you ask them only 1 or 2. And as a matter of fact, as you look at the mobile world, 51% of people open up their emails primarily on mobile devices, whether it be phones or tablets. So knowing that and knowing that you're dealing with a very, very small screen will lend you and help remind you that you should really focus as much as possible on less content and shorter headlines and more detail inside of a focus. So as we look at that, of course, one of the ways that you can bridge out and add additional content and additional worth is to add pictures. A picture, of course, is worth 1,000 words, but it's a great way to really reach out and connect with people that matter most. Pictures get 47% more click-through activity than content without images. But here's the trick. You can't over-rely on images. If you just include images in your email, you're likely to lose a number of the people that you're trying to reach because, especially on mobile devices, if people are using their mobile device to download content, and then if they're in a poor reception area or their internet over that particular space is slow, perhaps if you are in outstate somewhere or in a place that's outside of an urban area, you might not have access to those 4G speeds or LTE. So if you're downloading something over a 3G network, your download speeds are going to be very low. So don't put lots of imagery and content in there. And certainly, if you do use images, be sure to use text labels, and this is available inside of Constant Contact's toolkit, to label your images so that people know what they're looking at, even if they have images turned off. Be descriptive, be helpful, tell them what they want to do. This is also great for accessibility because email reader programs will tell you that there's an image and what the image is if you give an alt image text label to your content. Don't use images of your content. If you have text, it's best to just use text, because why complicate things and why make it look all weird? And remember, if your content is viewed on mobile devices, you really do need to be careful with how it looks. Here's some examples of email imagery that has a couple of issues. First, the House 307 POD email, that's an example of a browser that has their images turned off. So you just see the little bitty red X on that picture, and there's no context for that image so that people know what that is. Next up, the second one, A Most Unusual Evening. That's a great image, and there's some text behind it if you were to hover over it, but the call to action is buried down below that first screen. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but you want to make sure that the action, what you want to get them to do, is listed with a clickable button right above the fold inside of your screen or on the very first view that they get. And then the NB Fitness, that's New Body Fitness, and their entire email looks skewed because they included a very large image, and that's made the image have to scroll off to one side. All of Constant Contact's new templates are fully what's called mobile responsive, or they automatically resize themselves depending on the device that you're viewing your emails on. And in fact, that's never been more important than this week, because as of April 21st, just 2 days ago, Google set in place new rules that websites and content that don't display properly on small devices or what they deem mobile friendly, content that's not mobile friendly will no longer show up in search results as of Tuesday the 21st. And so if you're trying to search for your website and your website isn't mobile friendly, it's just not going to show up when people search on mobile devices. So make sure that you're thinking about that, and get a hold of us if you need help making your existing website mobile responsive, because we have some tricks up our sleeve to help you get there. If you have pics, there are a lot of channels that thrive on visuals. Of course, email is very visual if it's done correctly, but also Instagram or Pinterest, and of course, Facebook, the granddaddy of social media, all can benefit from imagery and great content. And the key here is that you can repurpose and reuse your content across all of those devices. So you can set up via Constant Contact's tools the fact that you could repurpose and republish your content on Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, Google+, and all of that content can be shared by the people that receive emails from you to all of their networks as well, using the simple share tool or using some of the sharing buttons that are included. Let's take a brief campaign exercise. First, go ahead and select one or two campaign types that you might want to try. And then let's go from there and say, what could you write about? And what channels make sense for you and your campaign message? So think about that for just a few moments. I'm going to give you a second, and while I do that, I'm actually going to switch over and make sure that I have the connection. Oh, and Cami had said, what is the command to label picture images? And I'm going to go over to that right now, and I'm just going to select that. And Cami, the command to label picture images is actually included right inside of Constant Contact. It's just the image label inside of there, but the HTML code that we're talking about is the alt tag, ALT. So if you're using alt tags, and you can simply Google alt tag, and it'll tell you what you're connecting with and what you're seeing. So that's what that image label is. Again, you don't even really need to know that it's an alt tag, other than, inside of your constant contact imagery, or inside of your email marketing newsletter, you should have a way to label with text the image that you're posting. So thank you very much, Cami, for the question. Again, as a reminder for folks that haven't, or that weren't on right at the beginning, if you're looking for a way to ask those questions like Cami did, just click, if you're viewing the video right inside of our window right here, thank you very much, and that's awesome. We have a bunch of viewers right now, but you can go into Google Plus and click on this link under number 1. That's going to take you into this window where you can ask questions. So thank you very much, Cami, and we're going to get back on to our regularly scheduled content and let you finish out the campaign exercise. So I'm assuming everyone's gotten done with their exercise and they've done that campaign detail. So let's go into 3 words that are going to rule your life moving forward. Now, later, or never is what people will say when they're browsing your email. They're looking at their email. We all get a bunch of email, and every email that you view, you say this subconsciously, whether you realize it or not. Are you going to read that content now? Or are you going to read it later? Or are you going to never look at it, in which case you're just going to swipe to delete on a mobile device, correct? So when you think about this, really, now is the way that you want to get, or as much as possible, because even later is just a more polite never, because we get so much email, we get so much information thrown at us on an everyday basis that, if you don't get people to just read it right now, if you don't make your subject lines very active, the likelihood that your content is going to get read dramatically decreases by the minute. The 3 keys that you can tie into to get you more clicks and to get people to read your content is to focus on who it's from. And for who it's from, the latest thinking is that you should list your business as the subject, or as the from person. So new message from BusyWeb. We used to say a few months back that it's best to associate with a specific person, but people that are reading an email newsletter in particular are expecting the content to come from a business. So it's now okay to just list from BusyWeb, for example. Second, the subject, and we're going to get a lot more into a lot more detail on the subject line of your emails. And third is, when are you going to send your communications? So we'll talk as well about how you can time your content so that it goes out and gets the maximum amount of readership and the maximum amount of, even more important than click-through rates, action that you're trying to receive. So let's take a step back and look at, who is it from? As you look at your from portion of your email address, again, how are you going to be most recognizable? Think about this across not only your emails, but what do you use for your account names, for your website, for your LinkedIn accounts, for your company page, for Instagram, Google+, your page. They all should be consistent. And if they're not, you're going to want to take a look at that and make sure that you're drilling back to the right name for everything. And it should be as consistent as possible. So you may have an LLC number or an LLC name or a corporate name, and you're doing business as, or you're a DBA as something else. Go with whatever is most recognizable and what makes the most sense, and make sure that all of your social media matches your website and matches the emails that you send, to make sure that you're getting recognized and getting opened as much as possible. You also need to think about the CAN-SPAM Act, and this is particularly relevant for anyone that's hoping to not get blacklisted. If you send email from a regular email account from your Outlook, for example, if you send more than 10 or 15 emails at a time, ISPs will tend to slow that message down, or even block that message from going out if there's too many links in it, or if there's too much gunk in it, or if it's obviously kind of spammy content. There's a lot of algorithms that get applied to this, but if you don't have the right parts in every email that you send out to a mass amount of people, including an unsubscribe link, the physical address of your business location, or a PO box, of course, if you're a virtual company, and anything else that would physically describe you as a company. You could fall afoul of the CAN-SPAM Act and be blacklisted or even incur fees or fines if you do it on too big of a scale. The likelihood that you're going to get fees from the FTC is pretty low. And as a matter of fact, you're far more likely to get banned or blacklisted from ISPs like AOL or Comcast than you would be to get banned by the FTC. So just think about that. Make sure that you're obeying all the rules. The good news is if you're using an email marketing tool like Constant Contact, you're going to be set because they automatically build all that stuff in. You also want to make sure that you look great for brand consistency. And you can see inside of this email set, all of these emails have similar coloring. The one thing on the far left one, the dining room, I would include your URL or the name of your company over on the left in case you're browsing on a mobile device, and make sure that it's very consistent. There's also a huge image right underneath that dining room article or at the top of that email, and that's driving everything else below the fold. And so there's just less opportunity for people to quick preview your content to decide if they want to read more. Now, the Taste Good, the Open for Lunch email, has a call to action. It has something right at the top, Tuesday through Saturday and the time. They have a big image, and then they have some detail inside of there. And then the nonprofit has the little thermometer and the September 2012 fundraising update and the big Donate Now button. That's all right in line with getting people to do what they need to do. It's not the sexiest of the three for sure, but that's the one that's probably going to get the best result. Let's talk about subject line. We all have priorities in our lives. We're all browsing through all kinds of emails. Even if you recognize the name of someone in your email through the from, there's three things that you should ask yourself and make sure that you're driving toward if you want to get the most opens based on your subject line, which some might argue is the most important part of any email. I'm calling it the 2-2-2 philosophy. And inside of the first 2 seconds, you need to be able to take some sort of an action. That's as much time as you get in an email to grab people's attention. So 2 seconds to grab their attention. The first 2 words in that email had better describe something or drive toward an action. And you need to explain to them what they're going to get out of it or what they should do today. So 2-2-2, 2 seconds worth of content. You need to grab their attention. 2 words inside of that first browse need to be action driven, and you need to tell them what to do today. Let's look at some ways that are great and ways that are not so great. So a bad subject line might be March newsletter. Instead, I would greatly encourage you to instead say, tomorrow, need 3 hammers. Can you help? So that's within 2 seconds readable. It's also getting right into, and the first 2 words are tomorrow, got the timing, and need. They understand what's happening. Now, if we just said March newsletter, if this was for the Habitat for Humanity, for example, a lot fewer people would be reading that message and clicking through on it, and you're getting right to the action that you need people to take inside of the subject line. So you're much more likely to have people register for the event than if you were to just post out that first March newsletter part. Another kind of bummer one, Joe's Pet Store newsletter. Great, that's wonderful. Doesn't really help us much, and unless I really love Joe and his store, I'm probably not going to look at that. Better, alert, help your dog beat the heat. Get right into the content, get into the why they should care about opening that email, and share with them everything that you can that's going to be important inside of that first 2 seconds. Children's classes versus still time, openings available for children's classes. I would put children's classes available immediately instead, but that's fine. We're getting better with still time. So we know how, we know the subject line, we know how to create the right who. Now let's figure out when we're going to send that message. Skipping over just a second to make sure that we've got all of our questions asked. Looks like we do. So let's keep going. For all email marketing, monthly is usually when we mostly send out our notes. The key is to ask yourself, when are my readers most likely to take the action I want? That whether it's opening up an email, which is kind of low on the priorities, to actually taking some physical action, like reaching out, connecting, emailing you, calling you up, or even better, buying something, that's the best action. So you're going to want to set your messages up so that they're best timed to let people take the action that you want them to do. If you wanted to have someone register for an event, having it a year out is probably not going to give you that much of a connection rate. And having it 2 hours before is going to be too late as well. So you need to figure out your appropriate timing. First off, find your best day. This is easy in a tool like Constant Contact because you can just divide your email list into 3 groups of people. From there, you just select 3 days in the week to test: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Friday, Saturday, depending on your business and what you're trying to reach. Generally, if you're trying to reach corporate people, you want to be between the days of Tuesday and Thursday, between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. or so. But it's different for everyone. And especially now with the new mobile device movement going on, the fact that we all have supercomputers in our pockets all the time, a lot of these games are changing. So after you've got your 3 days in the week that you're going to test, send your email and watch for the best response. What people are going to do, instead of even open rates, is going to be more important. Once you find your best day, let's find your best time. So use the same 3 groups of people, grab 3 times on the best day with the best results, and then send that email out and note the time again with the best results. So when you're going to send that post out, the key, and I keep mentioning this, but I'm going to highlight it right now, do not be romanced by a high open rate. Instead, measure the actions that matter most to your business. How many times did people call? How many times did people show up at your office? How many times did people subscribe to that newsletter or like you on Facebook or Twitter? And what did that really do for you and for your business? So some practical advice inside of this. Remember, 67% do not see images by default, and text links tend to get more clicks than buttons. So if you have a text link, again, make sure that it's very prominent, bold that puppy, and you can put an image next to it if you want, but make sure that you've got both text and images on buttons to make sure that people get the most clicks. Place that logo left or center in your email right up at the top, and be sure to include your company name in both the from, but also right up at the text when people are browsing. Other practical advice: key action should be above the scroll line. So make sure that when people are previewing this on their mobile devices and on the web, on their computers, that you can see what you want them to do. Don't give people too darn many choices. 2 or 3 things is about the most that you can expect out of any email. And make all your images clickable with text labels for the maximum result. And of course, make sure to test all of this stuff on yourself. Send a test message. You can do that very easily through Constant Contact's email tools, and make sure that you preview it on your iPhone, on your friend's Android device, on a tablet device of some sort, probably of both sorts, Apple and none, and then build that out and make sure that it works great before you send that message. So let's go back to some practical advice on social media and emails. We're at a natural break point, so I'm just going to check for questions. Looks like we're good there. And so if you do have those questions, again, remember to send them in because this is all about you. Let's talk about social media for a while. Back in the business, or at the beginning of business time, before social media got really big, say around 2008, only 10% of small businesses used social media marketing. Now, and actually it's even greater than this, as of 2013, that number rocketed all the way up to 87%. So really what we're getting at and what we see is that social media influences decisions. Whether you're trying to purchase something, 74% of folks say that they rely on social networks to guide those purchase decisions. Whether you're trying to engage with people, 55% share those purchases on social networks, so that grows word of mouth. And if you're trying to grab more content or more engagement with a nonprofit, 68% of people said that they learn more about a charity if they see a friend posting on it. We're all familiar with the Ice Bucket Challenge with ALS. That was largely launched, and most of that money came through people challenging each other over Facebook and posting their videos, challenging their friends, and tagging them on social networks. So that's $100 million idea right there that wouldn't have happened without social media and without a great idea. So as far as email or social, really email and social. You need to use both. You can use social media to amplify your email. So include those share buttons. And then really your social media can drive traffic back to your email list, back to your website, and back to just getting things happening for you. Really, the two go hand in hand, and a proper email will encourage people to share socially, and proper social posts will encourage people to subscribe for an email newsletter or a list. So include both of those for maximum effect. Here's some examples of people that are doing a pretty decent job at email and social media. The Bolo Co. company that I just covered here, they're doing a lot of really fun stuff. Girl Scouts of Northeast Texas, you can see all of the ways that they send out both emails, and then you can see that on their LinkedIn, their Facebook, and their Twitter from top to bottom. You can see that these all relate to each other. I've got a couple of learning points on the Girl Scouts in particular. They don't have their name listed very well on this account for their email. They do have a nice border, but that's pretty big, and it doesn't really get into the call to action. On LinkedIn, that's a very broad or wide logo. They'd be best off just to have this little Girl Scout logo in here. And then when you bridge across onto Facebook, it says, "I can't wait to," and then they have a picture of a bunch of girls. Well, that again, that's not in line with the rest of their branding. So you should be able to tell that this company is related to this organization, is related to this organization. And again, they've got different images, they have different names, they have different content on each of these networks, and they might be sharing all of that back and forth, where you can see here's the Constant Contact email link, but there's some opportunity to be more consistent. Same thing with Liberty Tax. They have Tax Talk, and while they have a great logo here, they have that logo in a slightly smaller version on their Google Plus page, but the background is completely different. Same thing with Liberty Tax on their Twitter account. They've got a different background, and they've got a heading, but it's completely different than their Pinterest board, and different colors. I would keep it consistent across all of them. Use the same headers, engage and connect. You can change your headers, but just make sure that they all are consistent and that they all drive toward the same thing. If people look at an account or go to a Pinterest account and they can't immediately recognize that it's from the same thing that they saw in an email, you're missing out on opportunities to grow and to lead your business forward. So we've got our emails, we've got our content, we know what we're doing in social media. What do we do next? Inside of that, again, clicking back to make sure that I don't have any questions, and we don't yet, so I'll give you one last chance at the end before we go into more detail. Let's talk about what those next steps are for you in your online marketing. There are some tools that you can use to expand your reach. Constant Contact has what's called a social sharing tool. Using Simple Share, you can let people connect out and share on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, across their networks when they get an email. The key on having shareable content is to make sure that it does a number of things. In all email marketing, you should be trying to do one of four things, and ideally all four: engage, inform, capture, and convert. You want to engage with helpful content. You want to be the equivalent of the super fun person at the cocktail party that shares great anecdotes. Tell them what it's like to get behind the scenes in your business. Tell them something amazing that happened in your business. Thank people, connect with them. That's all the engagement. Share some insider tips. Share a report from your local chamber of commerce or from your trade association that no one else would have access to. That's the inform part. Capture by including relevant calls to action, making sure that everyone can see what you expect them to do and that you're very glaringly clear as to what you want them to do in exchange for this wonderful information that you're sharing with them. And then you keep doing the engage and inform part until you convert them into a customer. So if you have shareable headlines, fun content, that's a great way to help grow your business. And then there are also social media buttons and other details to help you connect back. So you can connect out and let people register or connect with you, like you on Facebook, follow you on Twitter, follow your company page on LinkedIn or Pinterest. And so if you do that, and if you have those links on every email that you send, that's going to help you to get to the next level in your business. There are also some other ways offline to expand your reach. At your register, when people are checking out, make sure that you give a link to your email sign-up form. Should be easy and embedded on your website in order to get there. So busyweb.com/contact includes a sign up for our newsletter page, for example. Include a list or a link to all of your social networks and to register for your email in checks at meals, in your receipts, for example. And then if you have registration forms for events, make sure that you offer them the checkbox option to register for newsletters. We have one that says, keep me in the loop, and it registers people for their emails or to our email newsletter if they sign up. There are also web sign up tools and, mail call or, some Facebook tools that you can use that you can plug things into. There's apps for websites, Facebook, etc. And as a matter of fact, inside of Toolkit in Constant Contact, you can easily add social media promotions to your Facebook page and some other accounts with a single click. So if you're not doing that already, if you don't have Constant Contact, or if you're using Constant Contact and you're just on the basic version, or you haven't looked at it since you upgraded to Toolkit, you're missing out on some great ways that you can promote your content to others. There's also tools to expand your list, like Scan to Join from Constant Contact and Text to Join. You can simply send in a text message to subscribe to a newsletter or subscribe via a QR code in order to scan. Now, QR codes have their challenges. You have to have a specific app installed on your phone in order to see that. It requires people to open up that application, at the very least a camera, and it's a secondary click, but it's certainly better than requiring people to enter in a super lengthy URL or to go to your website and click through to 3 different or 4 different things. So it'll help expedite. Basically, any way that you can make things easier for the people that are visiting you, the better. You can also use apps like iCapture, Shoebox, WiseStamp. These are all great examples of applications that you can use. And if you have questions about any of those tools, either log them in the system here or send us an email. Down at the bottom, we've got some content at busyweb.com/cc. And so if you go over there, apologize, I had that covered over with my mouse. But if you see any of that content or if you have questions, either send us a note, visit busyweb.com/cc, or give us a call. One final thing. It can seem pretty intimidating to put out content for all of these things. Consider setting up an editorial calendar for your content. And if you do that, that'll help you to stay consistent, and it'll also make sure that you're rounding out the content that you're doing so that you don't become the equivalent of a one-trick pony in online marketing. So in this example, this company has used Mondays for motivation, and that's just a simple post on Facebook and Pinterest that they post out, probably the same content in both networks. And then the first Wednesday of the month, they send out a newsletter. It's Tips for Spring in this case. Then they have their newsletter, and then every time they publish, they also send out a newsletter. They also cover that on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. That first Friday or the second Friday of the month, they do a new product announcement with a different newsletter and Facebook and Twitter. And then the middle of the month, they do staff picks, Facebook, Instagram, and their newsletter. And then finally, after their Monday, they have their Thursday event with event photos after an event. And then they have a sale on the last Tuesday of the month and a newsletter again in the middle of the month. So BusyWeb actually sends something out once a month or once a week. We have big weekly or monthly roundups. Our Busy Events newsletter goes out every, like the first Monday of every month. And then every Friday after that, we send out newsletters, or not newsletters, but just brief announcements and registration reminders for content that's coming up. So if you're doing this with SCORE, if you're connecting up, this is a great way for you to keep up, make sure that your content is consistent. Okay, so now we're here, and you're probably wondering, well, now that I've got this all set up, how do I do this with Constant Contact? Well, this is what Constant Contact looks like. It's easy, it's simple. This is the slightly older version. There's a new version called Toolkit that you can dial into now. And it's very easy. You just click on Home in order to take a look at everything that you've got going on. You can create new campaigns and make those around surveys or event marketing, social media promotions, or of course, straight newsletters or emails or email events. And you can do that all through the tool. And you can see right on the right-hand side of that front picture, there's newsletters and announcements, there's offers and promotions, events and registrations, feedbacks and surveys, and you can browse all of that out. You can also easily demo what you're looking at. This is as complicated as it looks when you're creating an email marketing template. And if you subscribe with BusyWeb, if you click on the busyweb.com/cc link and sign up with Constant Contact before the end of the month here, we will actually create a free template design that looks just like your website for your email newsletter. We'll do that for free. That's a $200 value if you sign up with Constant Contact by clicking on that link at busyweb.com/cc by the end of the month. So you have a few days left here, but would love to see you and help you out getting set up. What does it all cost? Well, basic to just send email campaigns is $20 a month. To get all the candy that I talked about today, including the surveys, the social media marketing, and the event registration, starts at $45 a month for up to 500 contacts. And for every 2,500 contacts after that, it's an extra $15. So easy to do the math. The differences between all of the tools are listed right here. There's either basic, essential, or ultimate. And the essential is the one that we mostly recommend because it gets all that extra stuff, the social media sharing, the event posting, the surveys. And then if you want a personal coach, you can go for the big dog at $195 and up a month. And that'll get you someone that you can physically talk to. You can just dial up the phone, and our helpful account reps at Constant Contact will help you with all of that. You know, BusyWeb talks a lot about Constant Contact, and we partner a lot with Constant Contact and with SCORE because we believe in the organizations. As a matter of fact, just this week, BusyWeb found out that we are now Constant Contact Master Certified. We share that distinction with 100 other companies worldwide out of 15,000 solution providers. So we are at the very pinnacle of solution providers inside of Constant Contact, and we would love to help you out. Let's wrap up quickly, and I'm going to take a few questions right at the end. So if you do have questions, now's your time to enter them. But in summary, first, you're here on behalf of SCORE. If you're not using SCORE as a business resource, I would encourage and implore you to please do so, because you can do email coaching, phone coaching, you can meet up in person with your SCORE coach. These are executives who have lived your business life. They understand the needs and the details that are necessary for running a successful business. And everyone needs a business coach in order to be successful. I have a business coach in my company. We've been doing this for 15, 16 years now. And I credit a lot of the successes in my business to the fact that I was able to work with someone that was able to push me further than I ever thought I could. If you're not using SCORE, you need to think about it and give them a call, even just to look through a business plan or to look through a marketing plan. You know, everyone that I've met at SCORE have been great executives. They really understand what they're doing, and they're so, so helpful. So please do check with SCORE. As far as BusyWeb and what we can do for you, we offer web design, of course, and inside of our web designs, we offer all kinds of helpful information, including ways to publish from your website to your Facebook account, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, and more, all with one click. Every time you update your website, you can update all of your accounts and save all that time and use it for other marketing tools, including email marketing, which we also integrate with. If you already have a WordPress website, we also offer hosting. And for $300 a year, we can do more than your host could ever dream, including running regular backups, malware scans, giving you updates on your plugins and your software to make sure that you're secure, and helping you with up to 3 hours of service and support every year, where you can just call a real person and they will help you through whatever challenge you're seeing in your website. If you need an online website coach, someone to help you when the going gets tough, talk to us. It's actually one of the best deals in web hosting for what we do at Busy Hosting. And then also where Constant Contact comes in for us, online marketing is where it's at with our Buzz Builders program. If you need help with email marketing, if you need help with Google Ads, content writing, SEO, search engine optimization, or anything else, BusyWeb has programs designed to help you with that at a very reasonable rate. If you'd like more content like what you saw today, be sure to join us every Wednesday, because Wednesday we feature busy webinars each week. Next week on Wednesday, we're going to cover getting to why, and we're going to cover why people are visiting your website, what you're trying to get them to do, and how you can explain your why to get better results on your website and in all of your online marketing. Just go to busyweb.com/events to check those events out and to register. And if you want more information or to have us give you an assessment on where you're currently at with your online marketing and to help you build a plan on where to go, fill out a Buzz Report request form at busyweb.com/buzz. Here's the questions that we're going to ask you to answer. And if you answer those correctly, or if you answer those for us and get through that content, we'll have our social media and online marketing experts take a look at that, and you'll get up to a 20-page report on your search engine optimization for free as part of this. We like to add this value because the more you give, the more you get inside of the world, but also certainly in online marketing. I'm going to go back to the home of this event so that we can see this and give you my contact information. Again, if you'd like to reach me, here's how. You go back for questions. Again, if you do have a question, the best way to do that is to simply go from the list that you're looking at right now, click on this. If you're in this video, just go back to the busyweb.com/event page, click on this number 1, the Google Plus link, and that'll take you into this page and you can ask a question here. And if you do have those questions, we'd love to take them. Otherwise, I think we're pretty well set. So I'm going to switch back over and we'll go from there. Here's again how to reach me at BusyWeb. And remember to go to busyweb.com/cc. Click on that link if you want to join up with Constant Contact to get that free template. And there's also free, if you want to extend that timing a little bit, we do have a 60-day free trial. No credit card required, and you can cancel at any time. You won't get your template until you actually start paying, of course. But if you want to give it a shot with Constant Contact, we can guide you through that, and go ahead and take that. All those steps are available at busyweb.com/cc. I am Dave Meyer with BusyWeb. Thank you all so very much for joining us. If you do have additional questions, you can send them in to sales@busyweb.com or dave.meyer@busyweb.com. And thank you very much. Reminding you one last time that at BusyWeb, we help you generate buzz without getting stung. Have a fantastic week, and we'll talk to you next month with Constant Contact and Score.